AKA Padders, if you want the path of becoming a better film viewer, you have to do this. What I'm going to describe to you is how I watched the new Ridley Scott Napoleon movie, and it's of absolute importance that you try this. You have to embark on it. You have to be a little bit brave and ballsy. But this podcast is about salvaging film criticism. So how do we make ourselves better reviewers? This movie transformed my approach for that, and I've applied it since. Just wanted to document the beginning of it. So let's go.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
Do we need to get into Joaquin Phoenix not getting an Oscar nomination for Best Actor? Do we need to get into Napoleon not getting every single Academy Award down ballot for technical? Ridley Scott, no nomination for Best Director, and no overall adulation for this movie. We are long documenting here that Ridley Scott is just the greatest overall filmmaker of our time now. It's like Woody Allen, Ridley Scott. And what's the difference? Well, Woody Allen he's like an auteur. It's like his psyche, his personality is in these movies that he makes. And Ridley Scott is what interests him. You know, like what gets his attention. Kind of what is he tapping into? And then a couple years later we get that movie. And then we get into the Napoleon film. Not just a film. Imagine Napoleon as a franchise. I believe next to Jesus and Abraham Lincoln, there's been no other historical figure depicted on film as much as Napoleon. So we get this big budget. We get the modern technology. And we get Apple, right? Apple's behind this movie. It's an Apple movie. Apple is making a bid for the Best Picture. Another long-standing position here, guys and gals and cats, is that the Academy Awards, it's just broken. It's broken. Moving on. It used to be fun to debate what deserved Best Picture, because you would have five or six movies every single year going through the 2000s. It was fun to debate what really was Best Picture and what got snubbed and why, and the travesty of some of it. But the Academy Awards have been broken for quite some time. So even any nominations that Napoleon gets is just, it's silly. It's silly to even give Godzilla -1 Best Special Effects over any other American, like any other movie. Like Godzilla, Kong x Godzilla New Empire, special effects wise, destroys Godzilla -1. The eye of the critics, the eye of the media, the eye of the audience. It's just corrupted. It's broken, and that's not what we're discussing. So how well of a movie is Napoleon? Let's just kind of approach that. I don't want to talk about box office. I don't even want to talk about how historically accurate the movie is, which seems to be the only thing people felt like discussing about this movie. This movie's so good you can watch it with no sound for the first time, and you know every single plot detail, because that's the experiment that I was alluding to in the intro, and that's what you have to do. Pick a movie that you haven't seen and watch it in complete silence. And then watch it with sound. Watch it as it's intended at that point. Turn out the lights, get yourself some popcorn, some Raisinets, entertain yourself, and watch that movie. So I was coming back from Dallas. An incredible trip to Dallas, by the way. Got to see the Gracie Knoll. We will be discussing, because of that trip, Oliver Stone's JFK, which is a movie that just every single time I see it, It just resonates more and more with me, and it has nothing to do with the context or the content of the movie. It's just it as a film feat. Historical notions back and forth, right? I mean, you can say Napoleon's as historically accurate as Oliver Stone's JFK. So we're flying back. You get a solid 3 hours. So I put on Napoleon, dead tired, but I get locked in and I watch this movie in silence. People around me probably think I'm, some type of sociopath, and I follow the entire movie. I followed the coup, his disjointed relationship with Josephine betraying him, his lack of awareness in social situations, his self-doubt, his fortitude, like all these things, they come through. And I'm locked in. And we get back. I think I might have slept for 2 hours, and I woke up and subscribed to Apple Plus, and watched the movie. Another shout out to American Airlines. I mean, I love the movie stuff. It's incredible. I mean, when we flew to Europe, I finally got to watch Dangerously Liaisons because of American Airlines. And what happens is it perks up your receptors, it perks up your ears, it sharpens the blade. It's another technique to become a better audience member, because you should be able to pick up the language of film and just the overall techniques and the ideas, and how do we go from scene to scene, and how do we jump from time to time, because movies do move through time. How do we show disappointment, how do we show love, the framing, the framing, they call it blocking, and then where are we from scene to scene? Like, what are we doing here? And it makes you really respect what happens with the directors, because Ridley Scott clearly didn't need a script to tell a story. He tells a story without a script, so it can only be enhanced with a script. And we should be able to make those judgments with movies, even if it's like a Woody Allen movie where so much of it's just dialogue and single rooms and lots of back and forth. We should be able to see it in the characters and in the emotion, and in a weird way, hear it. Like, we can hear a movie even though the volume's off. I want to say there was a generation of not just critics, not just media people, not just media personalities, but I just want to say I think there was a generation of individuals that absorbed film this way. And I'm not talking about the silent era. I'm just talking about not everything always being available to everyone, and it being okay to watch a movie, and maybe you're in a crap theater and you're watching Star Wars for the first time, or Empire Strikes Back. You're watching it for the first time and you're not in the best seat, but you can follow the movie. You can be there because all the other elements are so well put together. A lot of this makes me go back to Gene Roddenberry talking about he would just turn his chair to TV so he can learn the right dialogue. To really develop the skill set and the receptors and have the instinct of being a good film reviewer, is you have to be able to place yourself in the movie, and to do that you need practice. You should be. I just remember discussing The Hangovers, a movie that got way too much attention, by the way. We may not be discussing that. Hangover is not a recommendation. Just go watch Wonder Boys with Kirk Douglas and Tobey Maguire. And sometimes you can tell. You can tell people who are excited about movies just because social media, they were told to be excited, but you talk to them about the movie and it's like, well, yeah, but like they should kind of just think they were, like everyone's just kind of like stuck in a room, and isn't the kid, we've seen that kid in other movies, and Paul Giamatti, we've seen him in other movies. I'm talking about the characters, and I'm like, were you ever interested in just seeing how this all played out for everyone? And you kind of talk to people about what the movie should be doing to you, and how you should insert yourself into some of these movies, and you just get like a blind stare, and they're like, I liked it, and I get it. Like some movies play off like that, but for the Film Buff podcast, we dig deeper. We have to dig deeper. So I implore all of you, anyone out there, if you haven't seen, pick a movie you haven't seen. I don't care what it is, and watch it on silent for the first time, and then maybe give it a night or two, then watch it without with the sound. Even go backwards, build it up, practice. Because I know some movies so well now, I put them on and I just blast music. Like I can watch a lot of my favorite movies in silence. I don't care. But to do it with something you haven't seen before that you're honestly curious about, you have to do it. You really do. And it kind of makes me think of some of these movies that are misses now, or again, everything's developing into streaming. So now, like 8-hour movies are regular, and what you're finding, because that's essentially what Netflix and Disney Plus crank out. Like if the Book of Boba Fett, for example, just gets a bad reception, right? Like people just like they howl at the moon, they hate it. But if you watch it with no sound, maybe it's something different, and maybe you were wrong. It's a technique, and I'm going to implore more of this. I may do it with Ghostbusters Afterlife. For some reason, that sticks out for me to try it with, because it's also too visual. I like trying this with visual movies. So, AKAPADers, a little bit of homework. Watch a movie you've never seen in silence, and report back. Let me know.
Okay, that's a wrap.